Hi folks, David Hurley, the pub chess bluffer of easychesstips.com. Today I'm going to show you a game I just played against a high rated player, a Blitz game, live Blitz game on Gameknot against King Yellow. He's rated at 1922, supposedly close to expert. My own ranking, as you can see here, is 1713, rather more modest. I will just say this though, when we check his stats, we see he has a consistently high ranking, but he's also playing players consistently lower level than himself. I think a real measure of ranking is when this average line here is much closer to your actual score line, because on these websites, one way of boosting your rank is to consistently play lower rated players. So let's get on and have a look at this game. I was playing as white and I open with the good old d4, and it quickly moves into the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit declined. And at this point, I don't think this is the best move for him. It's a blitz game and he's worried that his knight obviously is pinned. But that is not the strongest move. Now here, as I did this move, I remembered that my man John Watson in A Strategic Chess Opening Repertoire for White keeps his knight back. He delays the development of the G1 knight, preferring to move his bishop either to D3 or to E2, partly to frustrate this bishop if he's not yet moved, but he wants to come up to here to F5. But I didn't do that, and in the end it didn't matter. He attacks my bishop. I move away, keeping the pin and also hoping to draw out his pawns. We've got the C5 break. So I develop my bishop. Why didn't I develop it to here? Because he can just advance. I have to move it again, though of course it may break the central tension. Okay, so let's get our queen on good old C2, protect this pawn here. He's building up a bit of pressure on this diagonal, which I kept in mind. Even so, I castle, as it were, into a potential queen attack with these bishops here, but I don't think it's a big problem as a pub chess bluffer. Now, he wants to disrupt my pawn structure, so he goes for the exchange down here, and this became the key feature of the game. I doubled pawns here, and I think he was quite pleased with having achieved that. And so he now attempts to work on my pawn chain. And then here he moves his rook across. Now I think I'm going to grab that bishop. And he takes it with the queen. You see, he's looking to try and work his way in down here, but it's quite well defended. I've got this bishop. I've got these pawns actually doing quite a good defensive job, if you ask me. But what do I know? I'm just the pub chess bluffer. Add a bit of defense there. Now this draws his pawn down. I'm not at all bothered about this. In fact, I quite like it. And we'll see that this is perhaps an error on his part. I've not done any computer analysis. I'm just looking at it from my own pub chess bluffery point of view. So he's castled into this relatively disrupted pawn. I mean, his pawns are completely disrupted. He's castled into empty space effectively, and this will prove his undoing. Get your rook onto a semi-open file. Have a look at that pawn. He brings his knight down. What's he want to do? Do I really mind if he takes my knight? I move my queen away from the C file, away from that rook, but still covering the knight. Okay, he's trying to open up my pawns. He really wants me to keep doubling my pawns, but I'm okay with this structure. It opens up another file for my rook. So both my rooks are well placed, I think. And this structure here may not be as easy to break down as my opponent is expecting. Okay, he grabs what looks like a free pawn. Don't forget he sacrificed his knight, so it's a knight for 2 pawns actually. I move my king to h2 to protect my g3 pawn. Now, this is where things get interesting. He advances to attack my knight, hoping to kick away the only defender of the bishop. But I think we can get a nice little knight exchange, and this is where I think he makes a mistake. He comes down here, probably, well, he's aiming to get a check in here somehow. And I was wondering, has he set me up for some kind of trap? But anyway, let's see what he's got. I'll grab that rook. So I now have a material advantage. Well, I had a material advantage, a knight for 2 pawns. I've got back 1 pawn, and now I've got a rook. So my material advantage is building up. The question is, who has the positional advantage here? So he grabs, obviously, the bishop. And now, without that bishop there, we can have a look at, see if he wants a queen exchange. Of course, if he does exchange queens, then my material advantage gets even better. So he doesn't. But this leads to the fatal error. What should I do now? Well, I took the pawn, a free pawn. Thank you very much. Next, he goes for the check, but he has missed something. He goes for the check, but he has missed the crucial flaw to this idea. He's gone check, and I don't think he's expecting what I do next. It doesn't look as if I've got a lot of choice, which is strange because it's fairly obvious what I'm going to do, which is take the knight with my rook. Now, he probably thinks it's fine just to take back with the queen, but that is going to be fatal for him. And he did pause to think about it for a while. My first idea was get the queen off this line here, then I can simply fork the king and the rook. But getting the queen off this line here also gets another fork, a much better fork, which is a king-queen fork. But if he doesn't move the queen, if he doesn't take the rook, then my rook will simply take the queen and go for check, and he'll take the rook with the pawn, but then I have an overwhelming majority. I can come in here with a check. Oh, well, I can go back to plan A, which was to fork the king and the rook, further, well, completely destroying his pieces. So, what does he do? Shogunai, as they say in Japan, there's no choice. He takes it, and we now get in the killer move. Boom, check. At which point, King Yellow turns yellow and resigns. So there we are, quite pleased with that. A bit of a pub chess bluffer boast, but I like that one. I enjoyed it, especially as this guy is a 1922 rated player. Okay, folks, that's all from me, David Hurley of EasyChessTips.com, your pub chess bluffer.